She gave her last $10 to an abandoned widow in the rain. Next day, the Korean Mafia boss knocked on her door with $5 million. The rain was the kind that soaked through to your bones, cold and relentless, turning Seattle streets into rivers of gray. Jade Morrison counted the bills in her apron pocket for the third time, knowing the number wouldn't change. $43, 12 from the breakfast shift, 18 from lunch, 13 from the dinner crowd that had been sparse because of the weather, minus the 33 she owed her landlord just to stop him from changing the locks. That left her with $10. $10 until Friday's paycheck. 3 days away. $10 for food, for bus fare, for the insulin her mother needed because Medicaid had lapsed again, and the pharmacy wanted $200 she didn't have. Jade stood under the diner's awning, rain hammering the fabric above her head, and did the math that never quite added up. Skip meals. Walk the 4 miles home. Stretch the insulin by having her mom cut her doses. Survive. Again. That's when she saw the old woman, Korean, maybe 70, sitting on the bench at the bus stop with no coat, no umbrella, soaked through and shaking. Her clothes were expensive ones. Jade could tell quality even when it was drenched, but hung on her frame like they belonged to someone else, someone bigger, someone who ate regularly. Jade knew she should walk away, should protect the $10 that stood between her family and complete disaster, should be practical, logical, smart. Instead, she found her feet carrying her across the street, her last dry jacket already coming off her shoulders. "Ma'am," Jade said softly, draping the jacket around the woman's trembling frame. "Are you okay? Do you need help?" The woman looked up with eyes that had seen too much, that carried a weight Jade recognized. The weight of loss, of abandonment, of surviving when you weren't sure you wanted to. She spoke, but Jade couldn't understand the Korean words, only the tone. Hopeless, defeated, done. Okay, Jade said gently. "Let's get you somewhere warm." She checked the bus schedule. Next bus in 40 minutes. Too long. The woman would freeze. Jade looked at the $10 in her hand, then at the Korean restaurant across the street, light and warmth spilling from its windows. She made the choice that would change everything. "Come on, Halmayoni," Jade said, using one of the few Korean words she knew from a college roommate. Grandmother. She helped the woman up, supported her weight, and walked her across the street into the restaurant's warmth. Inside, the owner, a stern-faced Korean man in his 50s, looked up from the register. His expression shifted when he saw them, softening almost imperceptibly. "She needs food," Jade said. "Something hot. Soup, maybe? Whatever $10 will buy." "$10 buys nothing here," the owner said, but his tone wasn't unkind. "Minimum 15 for Jagai." "Please." Jade laid the bill on the counter, all she had in the world. "She's freezing. She's starving. I don't know who she is or where she came from, but she needs help. Whatever you can spare for $10. The owner studied her for a long moment, then the old woman, then back to Jade. Something in his expression shifted. "Sit," he said finally. "Both of you. I'll bring food." They sat in a corner booth, and Jade watched the old woman slowly stop shaking. Color returned to her face as warmth seeped in. When the owner brought out not one but 2 steaming bowls of kimchi jjigae, along with rice, banchan, and tea, Jade felt tears prick her eyes. "I said $10, she protested weakly. "You gave your last money to a stranger," the owner said. "That deserves more than $10 worth of soup. Eat." Jade watched the old woman eat with a desperation that made her chest ache. This wasn't just hunger. This was starvation. When had this woman last eaten? Where was her family? How had someone so clearly from wealth ended up abandoned on a Seattle street corner? "Do you have somewhere to go?" Jade asked gently, though she suspected the answer. The woman shook her head, not understanding English, but understanding the tone. "No, nowhere. No one." Jade made the second choice that would change everything. She pulled out her phone and opened the translation app, typing slowly. "You can stay with me tonight. It's not much, but it's warm and safe." The woman read the translation and burst into tears. Not delicate, quiet tears, but wrenching sobs that shook her entire body. She grabbed Jade's hands and spoke in rapid Korean, words Jade couldn't understand but felt in her soul. "Thank you. Thank you. Thank you." The owner approached their table, phone in hand, speaking in low, urgent Korean to someone. He kept glancing at the old woman, his expression troubled. When he hung up, he said to Jade, "I've called someone. He'll want to know about this." "Know about what?" Jade asked, suddenly wary. "This woman. I think I know who she is. If I'm right," he trailed off, shaking his head. "Someone will come. Someone very important. You should prepare yourself." "I don't understand. Who is she?" "If I'm right, she's the mother of the most dangerous man in Seattle, missing for 3 months. Everyone thought she was dead." Jade's apartment was a studio in Rainier Valley, the kind of place where the heat worked intermittently and the neighbors' arguments bled through thin walls. She'd given the old woman, who she'd learned through the translation app was named Park Sun-hee, her own bed while she took the lumpy couch. Sun-hee had showered, changed into Jade's largest t-shirt and sweatpants, and fallen asleep almost immediately. Now at 2 a.m., Jade lay awake on the couch, staring at her phone. $12 in her bank account. -33 she owed Mr. Chen. Her mother's insulin running low, and now a stranger sleeping in her bed who might be connected to dangerous people. What had she done? Why did she always do this? Why couldn't she just walk past suffering like normal people did? Her phone buzzed with a text from her mother. "Baby, don't worry about the insulin. I'll be fine. I know money's tight," which meant her mother was rationing doses, which meant her blood sugar would spike, which meant another expensive ER visit they couldn't afford. Jade typed back, "I'll figure it out. Promise. Love you." She didn't know how she'd figure it out. She never knew. But somehow she always did. Worked extra shifts, sold something, borrowed from friends who had as little as she did. Survived. Sleep finally took her around 3 a.m. She dreamed of rain and empty pockets and old women with nowhere to go. The knocking started at 7 a.m. Not polite knocking. Aggressive pounding that shook the door in its frame. Jade jolted awake, heart racing, and stumbled to the door. Through the peephole, she saw them. 4 men in expensive suits, faces hard, stance ready. And in the center, a young man who made her breath catch despite her fear. He was maybe 28, Korean, devastatingly handsome in the way dangerous things often are. Sharp jawline, dark eyes that missed nothing, black hair styled with calculated carelessness. His suit probably cost more than her entire year's rent. But it was his presence that truly struck her. The absolute certainty of someone who'd never been told no and wouldn't accept it if he was. Jade opened the door with the chain still attached. "Can I help you?" "My name is Park Ji-hun," he said, his English perfect but accented, voice deep and controlled. "I'm looking for my mother. I was told she might be here." Jade's stomach dropped. The restaurant owner had been right. "Who told you that?" "That's not your concern. Is she here?" "Park Sun-hee, 70 years old. My mother." Something cracked in his controlled expression. Desperation? Fear? "Please, I've been searching for 3 months. If you know anything..." A sound behind Jade. She turned to see Sun-hee standing there, awake, eyes wide with shock and something else. Fear? No. Shame. The old woman spoke in rapid Korean, and Ji-hoon's entire body went rigid. "Iyama," he breathed, the single word carrying the weight of months of anguish. He said something else in Korean, urgent and desperate, but Sun-hee shook her head violently, backing away. "Wait," Jade said, holding up her hands. "Everyone wait. Can someone explain what's happening? Mrs. Park, are you okay? Do you want to go with him?" Sun-hee grabbed Jade's arm, speaking urgently in Korean. Jade opened her translation app, thrust it toward the older woman. Sun-hee typed with shaking fingers, and Jade read, "He can't see me like this. I've failed him. I left because I was ashamed, sick, burdened. Please don't make me go." Jade looked at Ji-hoon, saw the raw pain in his eyes as he read the same translation over his mother's shoulder. "You didn't fail anyone," he said in English, presumably so Jade could understand. "Yama, you've been sick. The dementia, the confusion. None of that is your fault. I've been losing my mind trying to find you. Please, come home." "She can't just leave," Jade found herself saying. "She's confused, probably malnourished, needs medical attention. You can't just take her." Ji-hoon's eyes snapped to her, really seeing her for the first time. "Who are you?" "Jade Morrison. I found her yesterday at a bus stop in the rain. She was freezing and starving, so I used my last $10 to feed her and brought her here because she had nowhere else to go." Jade lifted her chin, refusing to be intimidated. She's scared. She needs time. Something shifted in Ji-hoon's expression as he processed this information. Your last $10. Yes, you gave a complete stranger your last money. She needed it more than I did. Ji-hoon stared at her for a long moment, and Jade saw something change behind his eyes. Calculation, assessment, decision. How much do you need? He asked bluntly. Excuse me? Money. How much do you need? You gave my mother your last $10. I pay my debts. Name your price. I don't want your money. I helped her because she needed help, not for some reward. Everyone wants money, Ji-hoon said. Not cruel, just matter of fact. Name your price and I'll double it, triple it, whatever it takes to repay the debt I owe you for saving my mother's life. I said no. Jade's voice was steel. Your mother is a human being, not a transaction. She needed help. I helped. That's it. No debt, no price. Just basic human decency, which apparently is a foreign concept to you. One of Ji-hoon's men shifted forward, but Ji-hoon held up a hand, stopping him. His eyes never left Jade's face. You're either remarkably stupid or remarkably brave. I haven't decided which. I'm broke and tired and done with today, and it's only 7 a.m. Jade shot back. So probably stupid, but your mother is staying here until she's ready to leave. You can't force her. I could, Ji-hoon said quietly. Very easily, but I won't. Not if she doesn't want to come. He switched to Korean, speaking gently to his mother. The exchange lasted several minutes. Sun-hee crying, Ji-hoon's expression carefully controlled except for the muscle jumping in his jaw. Finally, he turned back to Jade. She wants to stay here, with you, for a few days, until she feels ready. The words clearly cost him. I'm asking, not demanding, asking if that's acceptable to you. Jade looked at Sun-hee, saw the desperate hope in the old woman's eyes and sighed. Yes, she can stay, but she needs to see a doctor, get her medications adjusted, proper food. I don't have the resources for... I'll provide everything, Ji-hoon interrupted. Doctor, medications, food, whatever she needs, whatever you need. A nurse will come daily to check on her, and... He paused, seeming to wrestle with something. I'll pay you for your time, for taking care of her. I don't want... This isn't negotiable. You're feeding her, housing her, caring for her. You'll be compensated. He pulled out a business card, writing on the back. This is my private number. Call me if anything changes, if she needs anything, if there's any problem at all. Jade took the card. Simple black cardstock, Korean characters she couldn't read, and a phone number. What exactly do you do, Mr. Park? The restaurant owner said you were very important. What does that mean? Ji-hoon's smile was sharp. It means I'm the kind of person your mother probably warned you about, the kind you should stay away from, the kind who owns half of Seattle's businesses and controls the other half through less legal means. You're in the Korean Mafia. Such an ugly term. I prefer entrepreneur with diverse interests. But yes, essentially. He tilted his head, studying her. Are you scared? Terrified, Jade admitted. But your mother needs stability right now, not more upheaval. So I'll deal with my fear if you'll deal with your need to control everything. That sharp smile widened slightly. I'm starting to think remarkably brave was the right assessment. He said something else to his mother in Korean. Jade caught sarangae, which she thought meant, I love you, then headed for the door. At the threshold, he turned back. Thank you, Miss Morrison, for saving her, for seeing a person where others saw an inconvenience. That's rare. And then he was gone, taking his men in his intensity with him, leaving Jade alone with an old Korean woman who'd somehow become her responsibility and a business card that felt like it was burning her fingers. The doctor arrived at 10 a.m., not a general practitioner who'd squeeze Sun-hee in between appointments, but a specialist in geriatric care who spent 2 hours conducting a thorough examination. Then came the nurse, a kind Korean woman in her 40s named Hae-won, who spoke both English and Korean fluently. Mrs. Park has moderate dementia, likely Alzheimer's, Hae-won explained, translating the doctor's findings. She wandered away from her care facility 3 months ago during a period of confusion. She's been living on the street since then, which has exacerbated her condition. Malnutrition, dehydration, exposure, all of this has taken a toll. Will she be okay? Jade asked. With proper care, medication, and stability, she should improve significantly. The physical issues will heal. The dementia, hey, one side. That's progressive, but we can manage it, keep her comfortable and as clear-minded as possible. And the facility she wandered from, she hated it, Haywan said bluntly. Felt like she was being warehoused, waiting to die. That's why she left during a lucid period. She'd rather die on the streets than spend another day there. Ji-hun, Mr. Park, he's been destroying himself trying to find her, shutting down the facility, firing everyone involved. He blames himself for not realizing how unhappy she was. Jade looked at Soon-hee, who was sleeping peacefully in the bed, finally clean and fed and safe. He really loves her. She's all he has, Haewon said softly. His father died when he was young. Sun-hee raised him alone, worked herself to exhaustion to give him opportunities. Everything he is, everything he's built, it's all for her. And then the dementia started, and he watched the strongest woman he knew slowly forget herself. When she disappeared, Haewon shook her head. I've never seen him like that. Desperate. Broken. You gave him his mother back. That's not a small thing. After Haewon left with instructions for medication and care, Jade finally looked at her phone. 17 missed calls from the diner. 3 angry texts from her manager. She'd been scheduled for the breakfast shift and had completely forgotten to call in. She called back, already knowing what was coming. Jade, where the hell have you been? Marcus, her manager, didn't bother with pleasantries. You missed your entire shift. Do you know how slammed we were? I'm so sorry, Marcus. There was an emergency, a family situation. Save it. This is the 3rd time this month you've been unreliable. You're fired. Come get your last paycheck Friday. Marcus, please, I need this job. My mom's medical bills, not my problem. Should have thought about that before you decided not to show up. The line went dead. Jade stared at her phone, the reality crashing over her. No job. $12 in the bank. Rent overdue. Her mother's insulin running out. And now an old woman with dementia depending on her for care. She wanted to cry, wanted to scream, wanted to rage at a universe that punished kindness. Instead, she made a list. Job search. Contact temp agencies. Sell her laptop. Sell her TV. Sell anything that wasn't nailed down. Figure it out, like always. The knock at the door came at noon. Jade opened it to find one of Ji-hun's men, the one who'd shifted forward protectively that morning, holding a massive box. Delivery, he said simply, setting the box down inside. Food for you and Mrs. Park. More coming daily. Before Jade could respond, he was gone. She opened the box to find enough Korean food to feed 10 people. Banchan, jjigae, rice, japchae, galbi, kimchi, all from high-end restaurants, all still hot. And at the bottom, an envelope. Inside was a note in precise handwriting. You cannot care for my mother properly if you're starving. Eat. PJH. And beneath that, a stack of $100 bills. Jade counted. $5,000. She should return it, should refuse charity, should maintain her pride and independence. Instead, she thought about her mother's insulin, about rent, about survival, and she kept the money. Ji-hun came every evening at 6 p.m., not to take Sun-hee away, but to visit. He'd sit at Jade's tiny kitchen table, speaking softly in Korean with his mother, holding her hand, reminding her who he was on the days the dementia made her forget. Jade would give them privacy, retreating to the corner with her laptop, searching job listings that all required experience she didn't have or education she couldn't afford. But she was always aware of him, the way he moved, the careful gentleness he showed his mother, the muscle that jumped in his jaw when Sun-hee called him by his dead father's name. On the 3rd evening, Sun-hee fell asleep early. Ji-hun sat at the table staring at his hands, and Jade found herself joining him without quite meaning to. She had a good day today, Jade offered. Remembered your name all morning. Talked about when you were young. Thank you, Ji-hun said quietly. For this. For taking care of her when you had every reason not to. She's not a burden. You lost your job because of her. Jade's head snapped up. How did you know that? I know everything that affects my mother's well-being, including the phone call you received yesterday firing you. His dark eyes met hers. I had my lawyer contact your former employer. You'll be receiving a settlement for wrongful termination. $50,000. You can't just, I can. I did. The money will be in your account by tomorrow. He leaned back in the chair, studying her. You intrigue me, Jade Morrison. You gave your last $10 to a stranger. You took her into your home knowing nothing about her. You lost your job caring for her and didn't complain once. Why? Because she needed help. That's not an answer. Everyone needs help. Most people walk past it. Jade was quiet for a moment, organizing thoughts she rarely voiced. My dad died when I was 8. Cancer. Slow and expensive. We lost everything paying for treatment that didn't work. After he died, my mom and I were homeless for 6 months. She saw Ji-hun's expression shift slightly, attention sharpening. We stayed in shelters, in our car when we had gas money, sometimes on the street. And I remember people walking past us, hundreds of people every day who saw us and looked away, who saw my mom crying and did nothing, who saw me hungry and crossed the street. Jade's voice was steady, but her hands shook slightly. One woman stopped, just one, a complete stranger who gave us $40 and directions to a better shelter. That $40 kept us fed for a week. That shelter connected my mom with job services. That one act of kindness changed our trajectory. So you help everyone. I help when I can, because I know what it feels like to need help and be invisible. Your mother was invisible on that bus bench, but I saw her. Jade met his eyes, just like someone once saw me. Ji-hun was quiet for a long moment. Then, the woman who helped you, did you ever find her again? Thank her? No, she disappeared before we could. I don't even know her name. Then let me thank you properly, on her behalf and mine. He pulled out his phone, typed something, then showed her the screen. A bank transfer confirmation, $5 million. To her account. Jade stopped breathing. That's not real. That can't be real. It's very real. Consider it compensation for saving my mother's life, for giving her dignity when the world had stripped it away, for being someone who sees invisible people. I can't accept $5 million. That's insane. You can, you will. His tone brokered no argument. Pay off your mother's medical bills, get her the insulin she needs. Move out of this place into something better. Go back to school. I know you dropped out of nursing school when your father died. Finish your degree. How do you know all of this? I told you, I know everything that affects my mother. That includes the woman caring for her. He leaned forward intense. Accept the money, Jade. Let me repay the debt I owe you. And if I refuse, then I'll donate it to charity in your name, and you'll have walked away from resources that could transform your life out of pride. Is that really what you want? Jade thought about her mother rationing insulin, about the collection notices stacking up, about her abandoned dreams of becoming a nurse, about the chance to stop just surviving and actually live. Okay, she whispered. Okay, thank you. Ji-hun's smile was small but genuine. No, thank you, for being exactly who you are in a world that punishes kindness, for seeing my mother, he stopped, something flickering in his expression, for making me remember that good people exist. The money hit Jade's account the next morning. She stared at her phone for 20 minutes, convinced it was a mistake, that the numbers would disappear. But they stayed. $5,050,000, more money than she'd ever imagined having. She called her mother first. Mama, can you sit down? I need to tell you something. By the time she finished explaining, leaving out the mafia part, her mother was crying. Baby, are you sure this is legal? Safe? It's legal. I helped someone, and they're helping me back. That's all. $5 million isn't helping back, Jade. That's life-changing money. What does this man want from you? That was the question Jade had been avoiding. What did Ji-hun want? He said he was repaying a debt, but there was something else in the way he looked at her. Something that made her pulse quicken and her breath catch. Nothing, Mama. He just wants his mother taken care of. But that night, when Ji-hun arrived for his evening visit, Jade couldn't ignore the tension that had been building between them. The way his eyes lingered, the careful distance he maintained, like he didn't trust himself to get closer, the electricity that sparked when their hands accidentally brushed. After Sun Hee fell asleep, they sat at the table like they had every night. But tonight felt different, charged. I paid off my mother's medical bills today, Jade said. All of them. 3 years of debt, gone in an instant. Do you know what that feels like? Tell me. Like I can breathe for the first time in years. Like the weight that's been crushing me is finally gone. Like, she stopped, overwhelmed. Like maybe the universe doesn't hate me after all. The universe doesn't hate you, Jade. It just tests the people strong enough to handle the tests. Jihan's hand moved across the table, stopping just short of touching hers. You've passed every test it's thrown at you. You've survived poverty, loss, abandonment. You've maintained your kindness despite every reason to become bitter. That's extraordinary. I'm not extraordinary. I'm just trying to survive. No, surviving is what most people do. You're transcending, helping others while barely keeping your own head above water. Giving your last money to a stranger. That's not survival. That's grace. Jade felt tears building. Stop. You're making me sound like some kind of saint. I'm not. I'm selfish and scared and so tired of being strong all the time. Then don't be strong right now. His hand finally closed over hers, warm and solid. Not with me. You can be tired. You can be scared. You don't have to perform resilience. The touch broke something in Jade. She started crying, not delicate tears, but ugly, wrenching sobs that shook her entire body. And Ji-hoon did something unexpected. He stood, moved around the table, and pulled her into his arms. Just held her while she broke apart, one hand stroking her hair, the other firm against her back. I've got you, he murmured. You're safe. Let it out. Jade didn't know how long she cried, just knew that when she finally stopped, she felt lighter. Emptied out, but clean. She pulled back, embarrassed. I'm sorry, that was human. That was human. Ji-hun wiped a tear from her cheek with his thumb, the gesture achingly gentle. You've been holding on to that for a long time. Years, Jade admitted. Since my dad died, I became the strong one. The one who held my mom together. The one who figured things out. I never let myself fall apart. You can fall apart with me. His dark eyes held hers. I won't let you shatter. The moment stretched between them, heavy with something unspoken. Jade should pull away, should maintain boundaries, should remember that this man was dangerous, that he ran a criminal empire, that he existed in a world she didn't understand. Instead, she found herself leaning closer. This is a bad idea. Terrible, Ji-hun agreed, but he didn't move away. You're a gangster. Yes, I'm a broke waitress who just became not broke because of you. Former waitress, and the money has nothing to do with this. This? The way I can't stop thinking about you. His hand came up to cup her face. The way you've invaded every thought I have. The way I find excuses to come here earlier, stay longer, just to be near you. Ji-hun? Tell me to stop. His forehead touched hers. Tell me this is inappropriate, that I'm your mother's son, that this crosses lines. Tell me, and I'll never mention it again. Jade should say all of those things. Instead, what if I don't want you to stop? He kissed her, soft at first, questioning, giving her every chance to pull away. When she didn't, when she kissed him back with equal intensity, he deepened it, one hand tangling in her hair, the other pulling her closer. The kiss was everything Jade didn't know she needed. Desperate and gentle, consuming and giving, all at once. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Ji-hun rested his forehead against hers again. This is complicated, he said. Extremely. I'm not an easy man. My life is dangerous. My world is dark. I know. And you're still here. I'm still here. Ji-hun pulled back slightly, studying her face. I need you to understand what this means. If we do this, if we're together, you become a target. My enemies will see you as leverage. You'll need security, protection. Your life will change in ways you can't imagine. My life already changed the moment I gave your mother my last $10. True. His thumb brushed across her lips. But Jade, I need to know you're choosing this with full knowledge. I'm not a good man. I've done things that would horrify you. I run an organization that profits from illegal activities. I'm violent when necessary. I'm possessive and controlling and dangerous. And yet you sit with your mother every night, holding her hand when she doesn't remember your name. You donate millions to charity anonymously. You give a stranger $5 million for an act of kindness. You're not as bad as you think you are. You don't know me. Then let me Let me see all of you. The good, the bad, the dangerous, and I'll decide if I can handle it. Something in Ji-hoon's expression cracked open. You're either the bravest woman I've ever met or the most foolish. Probably both, Jade smiled. But I'm choosing this. Choosing you. Complicated and dangerous and all. He kissed her again, and Jade felt like she was falling off a cliff, terrifying and exhilarating all at once. The next morning, Jade woke to find Ji-hoon gone, and Sun-hee smiling at her knowingly over breakfast. The old woman said something in Korean, gesturing between Jade and the door with a teasing expression. Jade's translator app caught, "You and my son, I saw, good. He needs someone like you." Heat flooded Jade's cheeks. "We were just, it's not." Sun-hee waved her hand dismissively and said something else. The translation came through. "Don't lie to old women. We see everything. You're good for him." He smiles now. First time in months. Before Jade could respond, her phone rang. Unknown number. "Hello? Miss Morrison?" A woman's voice, professional, cold. "This is Jennifer Kim from Park Enterprises. Mr. Park has requested your presence at his office today at 2 p.m. A car will collect you at 1:30. What? Why? Mr. Park will explain. The address is being sent to your phone now. Please be ready." Click. Jade stared at her phone. Park Enterprises, his legitimate business. Why did he want to see her there? The car that arrived at 1:30 was a Mercedes, driven by the same man who delivered food. He didn't speak during the drive downtown, just handed her a garment bag. "Mr. Park thought you might want options," he said simply. Inside were 3 outfits, all designer, all in her exact size, professional but beautiful. Jade chose a midnight blue dress that made her feel confident and changed in the car's privacy-tinted back seat. Park Enterprises occupied the top 15 floors of Seattle's tallest building. The lobby was all glass and marble, with receptionists who smiled at Jade like they'd been expecting her. She was ushered into a private elevator that required a key card, which shot up without stopping. The doors opened directly into Ji-hoon's office. Not an office, a penthouse suite. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked Puget Sound. Minimalist furniture that probably cost more than her old apartment. And Ji-hoon, standing by the windows in a charcoal suit that made him look untouchable. He turned when she entered, and his expression shifted, softened. "You came. Did you think I wouldn't?" "I wasn't sure. Last night, I worried I'd pushed too hard. Scared you away." Jade crossed to him, surprising herself with her boldness. "I don't scare easily. I'm learning that." He pulled her close, kissing her softly. "You're beautiful. That dress was in a garment bag in your car. How did you know my size?" "I pay attention." His hands rested on her waist. "To everything about you. That should probably be creepy. But it's not." "But it's not," Jade admitted. "So why am I here? Your assistant was very mysterious." Ji-hoon's expression turned serious. He led her to a seating area, gestured for her to sit. "I need to tell you something. About who I am. What I do. You said you wanted to know all of me. This is part of that." For the next hour, Ji-hoon explained his empire. The legitimate businesses, real estate, restaurants, import, export. The less legitimate, protection services, gambling operations, territorial agreements with other organizations. He didn't sugarcoat, didn't try to make it sound better than it was. "I've killed people," he said bluntly. "Not many. Only when absolutely necessary. But their deaths are on my hands. I've ordered beatings, intimidation, theft. I've broken laws in ways that would send me to prison for life if anyone could prove it." Jade absorbed this, processing. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because if we're going to be together, you need to know. No illusions, no surprises. This is who I am, a man who inherited a criminal empire and expanded it, who uses violence as a tool when negotiations fail, who exists outside the law. And the legitimate businesses? Also mine, also real. I've been transitioning for years, moving assets into legal ventures. My mother hated what my father built. After he died, I promised her I'd make the family name mean something other than crime. It's taking time, but I'm getting there. So you're trying to go legitimate. Trying. But I can't just walk away. There are obligations, agreements, people who depend on the organization for income. It's complicated. Everything about you is complicated, Jade said. but there was no judgment in her voice. But Ji-hun, I need you to understand something. I don't condone violence. I don't agree with breaking the law. But I also understand that the world isn't black and white, that sometimes people end up in situations that make them do things they wouldn't choose otherwise. You're defending me. I'm acknowledging nuance. There's a difference. She took his hand. You're trying to be better. That matters. And you've been honest with me, which I appreciate. But I need honesty to continue. No more secrets, no surprises. If we're doing this, we do it with full transparency. Agreed. Ji-hun pulled her closer. No secrets, I promise. Good. Now why am I really here? He smiled slightly. Because I wanted to see you. Because I couldn't wait until tonight. Because I'm already addicted to your presence. And it's been less than 12 hours since I last saw you. That's intense. I'm an intense person. Is that a problem? Ask me later. Jade kissed him, and they lost time in each other until his phone buzzed insistently. Ji-hun pulled back with obvious reluctance. I have a meeting, but stay. Use the office. There's a full kitchen, entertainment center. Whatever you need. I'll be done in an hour. I should get back to your mother. Hey, Juan is with her. She's fine. Please, stay. So Jade stayed exploring the massive space. Found photographs on his desk. Sun-hee, younger, smiling. A man who must have been Ji-hun's father, stern but handsome. Ji-hun as a child, serious even then. Family. The thing that drove everything he did. She was looking at books on his shelf, surprisingly literary, when the door opened. But it wasn't Ji-hun. It was a woman. Korean, maybe 40. Beautiful in a sharp, predatory way. Designer clothes, cold eyes. Who are you? The woman demanded in accented English. Jade Morrison. Who are you? Song Mi-ran, Ji-hun's business partner. I wasn't aware he had company. Her eyes raked over Jade dismissively. How much is he paying you? Excuse me? For your services, entertainment, companionship, whatever you want to call it. How much? Understanding hit, along with a flash of anger. I'm not a prostitute. Of course not. I'm sure you have some more palatable title. Personal assistant? Consultant? Mi-ran's smile was cruel. But let's be honest about what you are. A pretty black girl who caught Ji-hun's attention. He's generous with his interests, but don't mistake generosity for commitment. You're a distraction, nothing more. You don't know anything about me. I know your type. Seen dozens of them cycle through. Girls who think they're special because Ji-hun smiles at them, buys them things, fucks them. Mi-ran stepped closer. But here's what you need to understand. Ji-hun belongs to this organization. To me, in many ways. We've been partners for 15 years. I know every part of him. And I'm telling you now, walk away. Before you get hurt. That sounds like a threat. It's friendly advice. From someone who understands how this world works. Mi-ran's expression was ice. You're a waitress playing in the deep end. You'll drown here. And when you do, Ji-hun won't save you. He'll move on to the next distraction and forget you ever existed. Before Jade could respond, the door opened again. Ji-hun walked in, his expression darkening instantly when he saw Mi-ran. He said something sharp in Korean. Mi-ran responded in the same language, her tone mocking. What did she say? Jade asked when Mi-ran left, slamming the door. Ji-hun's jaw was tight. Nothing important. She's up, protective, sometimes overly so. She called me a distraction, implied I was a prostitute, told me to walk away before I got hurt. Jade watched his face. She also suggested she has some claim on you. Mi-ran and I have worked together for years. She's loyal to the organization, to me. But there's nothing romantic between us, never has been. She seems to think otherwise. What Mi-ran thinks is irrelevant. What matters is the truth. And the truth is that you're not a distraction. You're everything. He pulled Jade close. Everything I didn't know I needed until I saw you give my mother your last $10. Your partner doesn't like me. Mi-ran doesn't like anyone who threatens her position. And you threaten it significantly. How? Because you make me want things outside this world. Because you represent a future that doesn't revolve around crime and violence. Because you're dangerous to the status quo. Ji-hun's hands framed her face. Ignore her. She'll come around or she won't. But she won't come between us. Jade wanted to believe him. But Mi-ran's words echoed, you'll drown here. Over the next 2 weeks, Jade's life transformed. She moved out of her studio into a beautiful apartment in Capitol Hill that Ji-hun insisted on paying for. Security purposes, he said, though they both knew it was more than that. She enrolled back in nursing school, her tuition paid in full. Her mother's insulin was covered permanently, along with all other medical expenses. And every night, Ji-hun came to her. Sometimes to the apartment she shared with Sun-hee, who was improving daily under Haewon's care. Sometimes to Jade's new place, where they'd talk for hours, learning each other in ways that went beyond physical attraction. She learned that he was terrified of losing his mother to dementia, that he'd watched his father die violently when he was 15 and had nightmares about it still, that he read poetry, loved classical music, and donated to dozens of charities anonymously because he didn't want recognition, just to help. He learned that she'd wanted to be a pediatric nurse since childhood, that she sang off-key when she cooked, that she was afraid of moths, but not spiders, which made no logical sense, that she'd never been in love before, not really until now. "I'm falling for you," Ji-hun said one night, lying in her bed, fingers tracing patterns on her bare shoulder. "Completely, irrevocably. It terrifies me." "Why terrifying?" "Because everyone I love, I lose. My father, Ji-won, a woman I was engaged to years ago, killed by a rival gang as revenge. My mother to dementia. Love makes you vulnerable, makes you weak, or makes you strong," Jade countered. "Gives you something worth fighting for. That's terrifying too, because I would burn the world down for you, Jade. I would do unforgivable things to keep you safe. That kind of love is dangerous. Then we'll be dangerous together." They made love with desperate intensity, both aware that their happiness existed in a fragile bubble, and bubbles always burst. The burst came on a Wednesday. Jade was at school, in the middle of anatomy lecture, when her phone buzzed insistently. Text from an unknown number. "They have your mother. If you want her alive, come to the address below. Alone. Tell no one, especially not Park Ji-hun." Terror turned Jade's blood to ice. She grabbed her bag, ran from the classroom, fingers shaking as she called her mother. Straight to voicemail. Tried again. Again. Nothing. The address was in an industrial area near the docks. Every instinct screamed to call Ji-hun to get help, but the message was clear. Tell him, and her mother dies. Jade caught a taxi, gave the address, tried to think through her panic. Who had taken her mother? Why? What did they want? The building was a warehouse, abandoned by the looks of it. Jade approached the rusted door with dread pooling in her stomach. Inside, the space was dark except for a spotlight in the center. And there, tied to a chair, was her mother. "Mama!" Jade ran forward, but hands grabbed her from the darkness. Strong hands that dragged her back, held her immobile. A woman stepped into the light. Miran, Song Miran, Ji-hun's business partner, smiling like a predator. "Hello, Jade. So good of you to come. Let my mother go. Whatever this is about, it's between you and me." "Oh, but it's not about you at all." "Well, not entirely." Miran circled Jade's mother like a shark. "It's about Ji-hun, about his distraction from what matters, about his ridiculous fantasy of going legitimate and abandoning everything we built. You're insane. I'm practical. Ji-hun has been soft since you appeared. Weak, talking about transitioning out, about finding a different life. That's not acceptable. The organization needs him focused, ruthless, not playing house with some," she sneered, "some nobody waitress. So what? You kidnap my mother? How does that help?" It shows Ji-hun that love is a liability, that caring about people makes them targets. "I'll give you a choice, Jade. Walk away from him. Disappear. Leave Seattle with your mother and never contact him again. Or," Miran pulled out a gun, pressed it against Jade's mother's temple. "Or I kill her, and then I kill you. And Ji-hun learns the lesson about weakness the hard way. You're his partner. He trusts you. He's blinded by sentiment, by his mother's illness, by you, by guilt over his father's legacy. But I've kept this organization running while he's been distracted. I've made the hard choices, and I'll make this one too." Jade's mother was crying, trying to speak around the gag. Jade met her eyes, saw the terror there, and felt something inside her crystallize into cold determination. "Okay," Jade said. "Okay, I'll leave. Just let her go." "Smart girl," Miran smiled. "You'll sign a document stating Ji-hun coerced you, abused you, forced you into a relationship. You'll file a restraining order. You'll make him look unstable, dangerous, undermine his legitimate business reputation, and then you'll disappear. And if I don't, then your mother dies. You die. And I tell Ji-hun it was a rival gang. He'll never know it was me. He'll spiral into grief and rage, and I'll be there to guide him back to what matters. The organization, power, control. Jade stared at this woman who'd hidden her obsession behind professionalism, who loved Ji-hun in her own twisted way, and saw Jade as an obstacle to be eliminated. How long do I have to decide? You have until I count to 10. 1. Wait, I need to think. 2. Jade's mind raced. She couldn't fight, couldn't overpower the men holding her, couldn't save her mother by force. But maybe... 3. Her phone was in her pocket. If she could just... 4. Okay, I'll do it. Just let me say goodbye to my mother first. Please. Miran considered, then nodded. Make it quick. The men released Jade. She stumbled forward to her mother, pulled her into a hug. I'm sorry, Mama. I'm so sorry. And while her face was buried against her mother's shoulder, blocked from Miran's view, Jade's hand slipped into her pocket. Found her phone, hit the emergency call button, prayed Ji-hun's number, the one she'd set as her emergency contact, would connect. She didn't know if the call went through, didn't know if anyone was listening, but she spoke clearly, loudly. Miran, Song Miran, you're making a mistake. Ji-hun will never forgive you for this, for taking us to this warehouse on Pier 19, for threatening to kill us if I don't leave him. Understanding flashed in Miran's eyes. You called him. I pressed a button. I don't know if it connected. But if it did, he's coming. And you know what he does to people who threaten what's his. Miran's expression twisted with rage. She raised the gun, pointing it at Jade. Then you both die now. Stop! A voice, loud and commanding, echoed through the warehouse. Ji-hun, flanked by a dozen men, all armed. His face was a mask of cold fury. Put the gun down, Miran. Now. Ji-hun! Miran's voice was almost pleading. I'm doing this for you. For us. She's making you weak. I'm protecting... You're pointing a gun at the woman I love and her mother. The only thing you're protecting is your own obsession. He stepped closer, and Jade saw something in him she'd never seen before. The gangster. The killer. The man who'd survived in a world of violence. I'll give you one chance, one. Put down the gun and walk away. Leave Seattle. Never come back. And if I don't, then I kill you. Right here. Right now. And I sleep fine tonight. The standoff stretched. Jade could see Miran calculating, weighing her obsession against her survival instinct. Finally, she lowered the gun. You're making a mistake, she said. She'll destroy you. That's my choice to make. Ji-hun nodded to his men who moved forward, surrounding Miran and her hired muscle. Take them. Miran gets 1 hour to pack. Then I never want to see her in my city again. As Miran was led away, still raging, Ji-hun rushed to Jade and her mother. He untied Jade's mother first, speaking gently in broken English. Safe now. I'm so sorry. So sorry. Then he pulled Jade into his arms, holding her so tightly she could barely breathe. Are you hurt? Did she touch you? I swear to God if she hurt you. I'm okay. We're okay. Jade was shaking, adrenaline crashing. How did you know where we were? Your emergency call connected. I heard everything. I was in a meeting 10 minutes away. His hands framed her face, checking for injuries. When I heard her threaten you, Jade, I've never been that terrified in my life. The thought of losing you, you didn't lose me. I'm right here. Because you were smart. Because you stayed calm and found a way to signal for help. He kissed her forehead, her cheeks, her lips. You're extraordinary. Jade's mother spoke up, voice shaky. Baby, who is this man? And what the hell is going on? Jade laughed, slightly hysterical. Mama, this is Park Ji-hun, my boyfriend. He runs the Korean Mafia. It's a long story. Her mother stared. Then at Ji-hun. You better take good care of my daughter. Or Mafia or not, I'll kill you myself. Ji-hun's smile was small but genuine. Yes, ma'am, I promise. The aftermath was complicated. Miran left Seattle as ordered, but not before liquidating her assets and severing her ties with the organization. Ji-hun had to restructure everything, promote new leadership, shore up alliances that Miran had deliberately weakened. and Jade's mother, Margaret Morrison, had to be brought fully into their strange world. Ji-hun arranged for her to stay in a secure apartment near Jade's, with round-the-clock security. At first, Margaret was furious about the whole situation. But gradually, as she saw how Ji-hun treated Jade, how he was genuinely trying to transition to legitimate business, she softened. "He's not what I would have chosen for you," Margaret told Jade one afternoon, 3 weeks after the kidnapping. "But he loves you, really loves you, and God knows he's trying to be better." "He is better, Mama. You just have to see past the surface." "I'm trying, baby. I'm trying." Sun Hee's health continued to improve. The dementia remained, but with proper medication and care, her lucid periods lengthened. And on her good days, she and Margaret became unlikely friends, two mothers navigating their children's complicated relationship. Jade threw herself into nursing school, determined to finish what she'd started years ago. Ji-hun supported her completely, attending study groups, quizzing her with flashcards, celebrating every exam she passed. "You're going to be an incredible nurse," he told her one night, watching her pore over anatomy textbooks. "I'm going to be an exhausted nurse if I don't pass this exam tomorrow." "You'll pass. You always do." He kissed the top of her head. "You're the strongest person I know." "I'm not that strong. I'm terrified most of the time." Being strong doesn't mean not being afraid. It means doing what needs to be done despite the fear. You do that every day. Jade looked up at him, this complicated man who'd entered her life because she'd given his mother $10. "I love you. You know that, right?" "I know. I love you too. More than I thought I was capable of loving anyone." 6 months after the kidnapping, Ji-hun took Jade to Pier 19, the same warehouse where Miran had held her mother, but now it was transformed. Construction crews had gutted it, rebuilt it into something beautiful. "What is this?" Jade asked as they stood outside. "Open it," Ji-hun said, handing her a key. Inside, the space was luminous. A free clinic, state-of-the-art medical equipment, examination rooms, a pharmacy, a waiting area with comfortable chairs and toys for children, and a sign above the reception desk. Morrison Park Community Health Center, serving Seattle's underserved populations. Jade's eyes filled with tears. "Ji-hun, you said you wanted to help people. This is how we do it, together. You'll run it when you graduate. Provide care to people who can't afford it elsewhere. Make a real difference." He pulled her close. "I'm transforming the worst moment of your life into something good. Taking the place where you were terrorized and turning it into a place of healing. This must have cost millions. Worth every penny. Besides, this is what legitimate businesses do. Invest in communities. Give back. My mother would approve." "She would." Jade kissed him softly. "Thank you. For this. For everything. For seeing me as more than just a waitress who helped your mom. You were never just anything. From the moment I learned what you did, giving your last money to a stranger, I knew you were extraordinary. Everything since has just confirmed it." They stood together in the clinic that would soon serve thousands, and Jade thought about the chain of events that had led here. $10, a freezing old woman on a bus bench, a choice to help when it would have been easier to walk away. "Do you ever think about that night?" she asked. "If I hadn't stopped, if I just walked past your mother. Every day, and every day I'm grateful you're the kind of person who doesn't walk past suffering, who sees invisible people and helps them. Your mother wasn't invisible. She was just lost. So was I, until you found me too." 1 year after that rainy night, Ji-hun proposed. Not in some grand public gesture, but quietly in the apartment where Jade had first brought Sun Hee, where everything had started. Sun Hee was there, lucid and smiling. Margaret was there, tissues already in hand, and Ji-hun dropped to one knee with a ring that had belonged to his grandmother. "Jade Morrison, you saved my mother's life. You saved mine too, in ways I'm still discovering. You make me want to be the man you see when you look at me. Better than I am, stronger than I feel, more honorable than my past suggests." His voice was steady, but his hands shook slightly. "Marry me. Build this life with me. Help me finish becoming the man I want to be." "Yes," Jade said, not hesitating. "Yes, you complicated, dangerous, wonderful man. I'll marry you." The wedding 6 months later was a blend of cultures, Korean traditions mixed with African-American customs. Jade wore a dress that incorporated hanbok elements. Ji-hun wore traditional Korean wedding attire for the ceremony, then changed into a tuxedo for the reception. Sun-hee and Margaret sat together in the front row, both crying happy tears. And when Ji-hun lifted Jade's veil, seeing her face fully for the first time as his wife, he whispered in English and Korean, "My savior, my love, my everything." The reception was at the community health center, now fully operational and serving hundreds of patients weekly. It felt right, celebrating in the place that symbolized their commitment to building something good from complicated beginnings. During their first dance, Jade said, "I gave your mother $10 and you gave me $5 million. That's a pretty good return on investment." Ji-hun laughed. "The money was nothing. You gave her dignity, gave her hope, gave me back the person I love most in the world. There's no price on that. And now? Now we build a clinic that serves thousands, a life that honors both our mother's sacrifices, a family if we're blessed with children, a legacy that isn't about crime or violence, but about using our resources to help people who need it most. No more mafia? Almost done. 2 more years and everything will be legitimate. I promised you transparency, and I'm keeping that promise. The transition takes time, but it's happening. I'm proud of you. Your mother would be too." "She is." Ji-hun glanced at Sun-hee, who was dancing with one of his lieutenants, laughing like she hadn't in years. "On her good days, she tells me. Says I finally found what my father never could, a way to honor the family without dishonoring myself." They danced surrounded by loved ones. Ji-hun's remaining loyal associates, now slowly transitioning to legitimate roles. Jade's nursing school friends, members of both Korean and Black communities who'd embraced their union. Patients from the clinic who'd come to see their benefactors married. Jade's former college roommate, Keisha, approached during a break in dancing. "Girl, when you texted me that you were dating a Korean gangster, I thought you'd lost your mind." "I kind of did. But looking at you two, the way he looks at you, like you hung the moon and stars, that's real love. Complicated as hell, but real. It is complicated, but it's mine." Later, when the reception wound down and guests began leaving, Ji-hun and Jade stood on the clinic's rooftop, overlooking the city lights reflecting off Puget Sound. "What are you thinking?" Ji-hun asked, arms wrapped around her from behind. "That a year and a half ago, I was a broke waitress who couldn't afford insulin for her mother, who'd given up on nursing school, who thought she'd spend her whole life just surviving, never really living. And now? Now I'm married to a man I love. My mother's healthy. I'm 3 months from graduating nursing school. We're opening a clinic that will help thousands of people who are where I was, invisible, struggling, forgotten." She turned in his arms. "Now I'm living, really living, and it all started because I gave a stranger my last $10. Best investment you ever made. Best investment we both made. You gave me $5 million, but you gave me so much more than that. You saw me, really saw me. Not as a charity case or a project, but as someone worth knowing, worth loving. Because you are. Worth everything." They kissed as the city lights twinkled below them. Two people from different worlds who'd built a bridge between them with nothing but compassion, determination, and love. 2 years later, Jade stood in the clinic she now ran, watching the waiting room full of patients. Single mothers with sick children, elderly immigrants needing medication, homeless individuals requiring wound care. All the invisible people she'd once been. She was 8 months pregnant, moving slowly but still insisting on seeing patients. Ji-hun had wanted her to take leave earlier, but Jade was stubborn. "These people need me," she'd said. "I'm not made of glass." Ji-hun appeared in her office doorway, concern evident. "You should be resting. I'm pregnant, not dying. 3 more patients. Then I promise I'll go home and put my feet up." "Your definition of resting and mine are very different." But he was smiling. "My mother wants to know if you've decided on names." "If it's a girl," Sun-hee Margaret, "after both our mothers. If it's a boy," Jade paused. "I was thinking James Tae-yang, my father's name and a Korean name that means sun, light, hope, all the things our families gave us." Ji-hun's eyes glistened. "Perfect, both perfect. Your mother will approve? She'll be honored, as will yours." That evening, surrounded by both families in the spacious house they'd bought in Queen Anne, Jade reflected on the journey. From a bus stop in the rain to this moment, married, pregnant, running a successful clinic, love beyond measure. Sun Hee, having a particularly good day, raised her teacup in a toast. To my daughter-in-law who saved my life, who gave her last money to a stranger and got back more than money, got family, got love, got purpose. Margaret added her own toast. To my daughter who always had the biggest heart, who saw someone suffering and helped without question. And to Ji-hun, who earned his place in this family by loving her the way she deserves. Ji-hun stood, pulling Jade up gently beside him. To Jade, who taught me that strength isn't about how much power you wield, but about how much compassion you show. Who transformed my life by being exactly who she is, kind, brave, extraordinary. Who gave me a future I didn't know I could have. And to Ji-hun, Jade added, who showed me that people can change, that past mistakes don't define future possibilities, who built a health center from his worst moment, who's transitioning his entire empire to help rather than harm, who loves me and my mother like we've always been family. They clinked glasses, tea for the pregnant women, wine for the others, and Jade felt overwhelmed by gratitude for the choice she'd made on a rainy night, for the $10 that had seemed like everything, for the old woman who'd been lost and the son who'd been searching. Later in bed, Ji-hun's hand resting on Jade's swollen belly, feeling their child move, he whispered, "Do you ever regret it? Giving that money? Bringing my mother home? Everything that followed?" "Never. Not for a second. Even the scary parts? Miran, the violence, the complicated adjustments. Even those. Because they led here. To you, to us, to this life we're building. To a clinic that serves thousands. To your complete transition to legitimate business, which you finished last month, by the way. Congratulations again." Ji-hun smiled. "I promised you I would. No more broken promises. No more broken anything. Just this. Our family. Our purpose. Our love. Just this," he agreed, kissing her softly. "Everything I need." 5 years after that rainy night, the Morrison Park Community Health Center had expanded to 3 locations across Seattle. Jade ran them all while finishing her master's in nursing. Ji-hun's business empire was entirely legitimate. Real estate, restaurants, import-export, all operating above board. Their daughter Sun Hee Margaret Park was 3 years old, fluent in English and learning Korean from her grandmother. Their son James Tae-yang was 18 months, already showing his father's serious demeanor and his mother's compassionate nature. On the anniversary of that night, Jade returned to the bus stop where she'd found Sun Hee. It had been transformed too, now a covered shelter with heating, part of Ji-hun's initiative to improve public spaces in underserved neighborhoods. She thought about the woman she'd been, 26, broke, exhausted, giving her last money to a stranger without knowing it would change everything. Would she do it again, knowing what would follow? The danger, the complications, the complete upheaval of her life? "Yes," she said aloud to the empty shelter. 1,000 times yes. Because that $10 had bought more than soup for a freezing woman. It had bought a future, a family, a purpose, a love that transcended cultural boundaries and criminal histories. It had bought the chance to build something beautiful from broken pieces. Ji-hun appeared, having followed her from the car where he'd been waiting with the children. "Found you. I needed to see it, where it all started. Where you saved my mother. Where you saved me. We saved each other." Jade took his hand. "You gave me resources to build the life I dreamed of. I gave you reason to become the man you wanted to be. It wasn't one-sided. No, it was perfect." He pulled her close, and they stood in the shelter that had witnessed the beginning of everything. The abandoned widow wasn't abandoned anymore. The broke waitress wasn't broke anymore. The gangster trying to be better found someone who saw him as already good enough. And the black waitress and the Korean Mafia boss lived happily ever after. Is it ever really ever after? Or just the next chapter? The next chapter, but a good one. A chapter where we build on what we started, where we raise our children to see people the way we learned to see each other, where we use our resources to lift up the invisible people, where we honor the woman who gave her last $10, Ji-hun added, by being people worth the investment, by passing on the compassion she showed my mother. They walked back to the car where their children waited, 2 mothers who'd become friends watching over them.